The doors of the exhortation and admonishment in the initial verse. The two doors, exhortation and admonishment, practiced together, transmit blessings and wisdom. If you recall, the exhortation is to do good deeds, admonishment is prevent doing evil. So with wisdom and compassion, the Buddha used both doors, exhortation and admonishment. And that is the skillful means of the Buddha. And despite the limited capabilities, they had the compassion to help liberate the enlightened minds, including ourselves. So with their capabilities, it's difficult to resonate with the great Dharma. So we had to adhere to capabilities and adjust that. So waiting for capabilities to ripen, he opened both doors of exaltation and admonishment. So if you recall, the Noble Eightfold Path talk about suffering, right? And then the way to liberation of suffering. So therefore, that admonishment have to come out. So to understand the causes of suffering. Then talk about the 12 cyclic existence and how we need to cultivate, and that's the exaltation. So the exaltation is counseling everyone to practice good deeds, and admonishment is to create, stop doing evil and to stop creating a negative karma. So one is to prevent us from lower rebirth, and one obviously this is cultivating good deeds at higher rebirth, but that doesn't release us from the three worlds yet. So we extol the virtues of people, like but speak of others' shortcomings, and so it's what ordinary minds tends to do. We are very easy to see the fault of others, but not easy to see the fault of ourselves. So imagine it was the same replica of ourselves, but in a different body. We'll be very critical of that person, right? So in the same way, if we can use that capability to reflect upon ourselves, then we can see ourselves, our own faults, and correct ourselves. So when among fellow spiritual practitioners, we must be each other's virtuous friends, and that's what we should be doing, so that we will then cultivate those good deeds. So when our threefold karma, the body, speech, and mind are united in reverence, we can resonate with the great Dharma, with the capabilities, and we bow, recite the prayers, and mindfully listen to the Dharma. And which is why Master quite constantly encourages us to do in this spiritual family. So all Buddhas who come to the world share the same path. They conceal the truth and give the provisional that we simply because of the capabilities, or limited capabilities that we have. So first teaching the three vehicles, and then one in view of the capabilities, and ultimately culminate to the Lotus Sutra. So the lessons learned. And the small weaker teacher to teach existence and emptiness. And then he brought emptiness and existence together. And that's where the wondrous existence and emptiness in the Lotus Sutra is being brought about. And Master said, the wondrous existence in true emptiness, and true emptiness in the wondrous existence. So for us, obviously quite normal that we detest sufferings and enjoy emptiness, because emptiness will remove all the afflictions of others. And it's frightening if you think about that. Come back, haven't limited and clean ourselves, and come back, therefore to be exposed. I suppose you look at it as like virus, right? And the pandemic right now. So imagine now that you have been vaccinated, and you know that the vaccination doesn't protect you, but you protect you from getting sick, absolute serious sickness. But you could go out there to help others. So in some ways, you can then draw an analogy from that. So having saved ourselves, we go out to save others, and that's what the frontliners do right now. So the four did not know that by trying to end suffering through the small vehicle, we are in fact adding to confusion and delusion. And this is the bus-like delusion that people have, and having only to save themselves. So in the affliction, the three realms or the three walls, as like Brother Alex said, even have transcended desire and the form wall, and there's still the formless wall that we need to yet transcend, because the these three walls are still within the six realms and in samsara. So in contemplation, the mouth is best kept closed and guard your senses. And I must say that it's so easy for us to find fault in others. And as you all probably know, that I often share with you all, that when Master always asks us to contemplate, we contemplate in samadhi, in stillness. And I've also shared with you all that a spiritual developed person tends to keep his silence. So if one doesn't understand your silence, then one doesn't understand your words. Sharpen your consciousness of awareness and mindfulness to guard against the arising of dust-like delusion. And all this dust-like delusion are very subtle within us. And unless we are mindfully and consciously aware within us, it's hard to really realize that we do have them. So we need to be careful. So magnify the small and enlarge the few. And then we'll know that we can see ourselves. Seeing the small is clarity. Being flexible is a strength. Like a bamboo. The ways of the world are charming, and it's very easy to be mesmerized by the drumbeats of the world. So subtle delusion is often overlooked as trivial. But one who seeks observe the subtleties, just like the stillness of pinching a tiny splinter on your finger. So on relationship, stating a relationship, when you do not transfer your anger to another, you do not repeat a fault. So very often when things arises in us, we raise an anger, and then we affect the other person. That person will carry the anger to somebody else. So a fault can be repeated many times like a domino. So that's the reason why those subtleties that I mentioned about, because we do not know our own habitual tendencies. And that spur of the moment it rises and will create that dominant effect right throughout. So matters that you are in contact with have nothing to do with others. And it's all about ourselves and how our mind, our mental affliction, mental formation that comes about. So there are manifestations of your mind. And this is the phenomena that we face every day. So myself would say the phenomena of people, matters, and objects. So there is a term called from phenomena, there's a non-manner. And non-manner is the things that the reality of that particular thing or the phenomena. So these are the manifestation of phenomena is manifestation of our mind, and that's why it arouses our desire or our emotion. So therefore, do not spread the raging fire of anger or your dust-like delusion to inflame your spread of relationships. And that's why sometimes the closer the person is, the more hurtful it gets. The more hurtful it gets, the greater is the pain. So those are emotion, and keep it at bay. Be aware and empty your mind of all afflictions. Okay, Kanan brothers and sisters, thank you.
Unlimited gratitude. Another marvelous sharing, BrotherChin. Yes, and so much. Okay, now we will take our ritual group photo. Everyone, please on your video. Yes, let's take a photo. We'll invite Sister Siu Ching to share with us a few words of guidance.
Good morning, Brother Robert. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Brother Robert, for the wonderful hosting, and brothers and sisters for all the wonderful wisdom and guidance today. Indeed, another day to have much gratitude. Yes, Brother BrotherChin, to be aware and empty our minds of all afflictions. All these great reminders on the contemplation reminded me of also recently we heard this sharing. I think that the community one once a month uh, uh, session with the public also. There was this questions someone asked, the drunkards asked the I think Buddha or someone wise, he said, I haven't done any good deeds in my life. I've been drunk all my life. Does it mean I'll definitely go to hell the next life? And the other person who's cultivating will go to heaven. Then I think the reply was like, not necessarily, it depends. Let's say if the person, even though they have done so much merits, like this cow that carries the bullock carts, so many bullock carts are carrying the treasures, but if the cow or what person is always in anger, that one stick. Also, I think the voice asks, you imagine you just one matchstick, you light up, do you think you burn all the bullet, all the cuts of blessing? So indeed, the master always remind us have to be very mindful of our afflictions, especially this anger, because one matchstick, just this one little anger will burn auras of merits, even how much we have cultivated it. And of course, today again, very hearing Sister Kaping, truly our wonderful great Pusas. So we could see here every person have their own doors. Sister Kaping, because of her great strength, rally all these great people together and do all these great sharings. Imagine it's like 1 to infinity. Each of them, if they have many followers, or even the corporate, they have so many staff under it. Okay, maybe she sent 100 or 200, or even if only one come back, but that one also have great potential, because that one can influence this many, a few hundred, thousands of their staff, and imagine the families behind us. So that's the great strength. And each of us we also very grateful, because here we have this potential. I also always like the story of this the